computer. It's right here. I downloaded Final Cut, my editing software, last night. So I'm gonna get back to making videos. So excited. I have video scripts written. Tomorrow is my big filming day. So hopefully next week I'll have a video up. I'm so excited. I've missed editing so much. So tonight's live stream is how I knew that my fiance was the one. Of course, I don't believe in soulmates, and I've talked about this so much on my channel through the years. I think that it's one of the most toxic things about our dating culture. How people are very fixated on finding the right person on an emotional level rather than really focusing on like core character traits. And I've said so many times, which I know is very controversial, that I think arranged marriages, consensual arranged marriages are amazing. And if we look at cultures that do consensual arranged marriages, they have much lower divorce rates. And if you interview, I've read a lot of articles of people who are in arranged marriages, they said they consented, like they allowed themselves to marry them. They had a choice in the matter, but they did not date them beforehand. They didn't get to know them. A little bit, but not that much. And they said they're extremely happy. They grew into a romantic love and attraction to each other. So my perspective on it is that if you get to know someone on an extremely deep emotional level, you will fall in love with anyone. And so any personality type you can work at it and have a healthy relationship with the exception of any form of abuse going on, then it's not going to be healthy. But if you're both humble people, willing to work, willing to change, wanting to make the other person happy, anything can work. And I'm actually gonna make a separate blog post on this, but about how a lot of people I've talked to think it's so weird that practicing Catholics don't live together before marriage. And I have thought about it a lot, and I think it all comes down to wanting to make the other person happy, humility, being willing to change. That's what makes a marriage successful. But I do think it's cool that I did get to know my fiance. We've been dating for 4 years, and I've thought a lot about marriage through the years. So I wanted to go through a list of things. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is being Catholic. Having the same religion as me is extremely important. People might think, oh, the number one primary foundational thing is being physically attracted to them and for them to be like a loving person. Well, number one, loving person is intertwined with religion. But number two, I would rather marry a Catholic who initially I'm not physically attracted to than someone I'm very physically attracted to who's not Catholic. So. And then number two is emotional dynamic together. Number three is overall personality traits. And four is observing relationships he has in his life with family and friends. And then number five, I thought would be an interesting spin on it, are things that I thought I wanted in the person I was going to marry that he doesn't have, but that I'm okay with. I made an entire live stream earlier this year on my thoughts of dating a non-Catholic, and I gave like a ton of arguments on why you should marry a Catholic if you are a practicing Catholic, and I will link that video once this is uploaded. But the main thing that I said personally in the video is that I would date a non-Catholic and I would give time to, parse out the intellectual arguments, debate each other, really have him think through if he wants to be Catholic, if it is true. And so I would give him the opportunity to convert, but if he refuses to want to know truth and refuses to change, then I could never get engaged or marry a non-Catholic. So I'll talk about the parts of being Catholic. So a lot of people are baptized. Anyone who has a Trinitarian baptism is technically Catholic. Even if someone leaves the church and becomes an atheist, they're always Catholic by their baptism. They have an indelible mark on their soul. So just because someone grew up Catholic, is baptized, even if they say like they actively love identifying as Catholic, that doesn't mean that they're a practicing Catholic. So being a practicing Catholic is extremely important to me. So obviously it implies certain Christian morals, but other aspects of what you have to do on like a tangible level with participating in the church. You have to go to Mass every Sunday or Saturday night, along with holy days of obligation, go to confession, receive the Eucharist, donate to the material needs of the church, So I would not marry a Catholic who only goes to church on Christmas or Easter or thinks it's optional to attend Mass. I want someone who, let's say I'm super exhausted, something's going bad with my mental health. You know, part of me is like, oh, I don't know if I want to go to Mass today. And I have my life partner, not partner, I don't like that word, but my spouse, husband, who I'm living with, who's like, no, we're going to Mass today. It's amazing. And so you always have that accountability in your faith, and also accountability to go to hopefully daily Mass as well. I think this is really important too, because donating a percentage of your paycheck to Catholic nonprofits and to your local parish could create a lot of friction in a relationship if the other person isn't Catholic. So that's a part of compatibility. Obviously, Christian morals, you can make a 10-minute live stream on all that entails, but one that I think is extremely relevant to a romantic relationship is the sexual ethics, saving sex for marriage. I think that's extremely important during dating and engagement. If you're the only one who cares about that, it's going to be so easy to have sex because the person who you are extremely attracted to is like pushing you. You know, it's subliminal. They might not be actively like manipulating you to have sex, but that temptation is going to be much stronger. And another part of sexual ethics is not using contraception in marriage. A lot of Catholics, even people who go to Mass every week, donate to the material needs of the church, receive the Eucharist, go to confession, even people like that are fine with using contraception and birth control in marriage. And so I would only be with someone who's on the same page as me, agreed 100% that we were not going to use any contraception in our marriage, but we're instead going to use natural family planning. Martha says Lizzie has the best nails. Okay, I recently got almond shape rather than square, and I'm like so obsessed with it. Okay. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Keith. Caitlin says, my friend was engaged to a non-Catholic, but they broke up because they couldn't agree on faith things and how it would impact their kids, so they broke up. I mean, I don't think that's sad if you're engaged to someone and you decide not to marry them. Like, I think that's amazing that you're finding it out. I mean, like, if my fiance cheated on me, I would be so happy to learn that before we're married, or displayed any type of abusive behavior. I'd be so happy to learn that before we're married. And so I think that ending an engagement can be a really beautiful thing because you realize that that's not the person you want for the rest of your life. Okay. Another aspect of religion that I was really looking for. So not only everything I just mentioned, but also he has a curious and introspective attitude in understanding the teachings of the church. So not only does he agree with them, but he really has this mindset of wanting to understand why the church teaches what it does and the beauty that comes out of all of the moral principles. Because I think some people might view it from a legalistic way, like, oh, I have to do this, don't know why. But he really wanted to learn, like, what's the long-term soul effects of following these teachings. And I think understanding the why, it really gives you like a happy and passionate attitude towards living out the faith. He also is humble intellectually. He actually also is a Catholic convert, which a lot of people don't know about my fiance. So he grew up Protestant. Well, he grew up as like an agnostic atheist. He converted into Christianity on his own without family when he was at the end of high school. He was part of actually the same like denomination I was part of growing up, but it was a little bit different. They like had instrumental worship. So that was like the only difference. So he grew up in that. He was part of that church for like a decade, and then he left it to become Catholic. So automatically that means that he is humble intellectually. He's willing to shift his philosophical perspectives throughout his adult life. And so that humility is really important to me. And it's like, just like me, any convert, you sacrifice a lot of things. It's very painful to convert. So the fact that he cared about truth so much, he was willing to convert anyways, very important trait that I noticed. Something else really important, a lot of people think of marriage as like what it brings me. Everyone's like, how will that develop me? How will it make me happy? How will it make me flourish? But I understand marriage, the Catholic Church does, as about children. And so when choosing my spouse for the future, I'm thinking about how will his religious beliefs impact the children? I think it will be incredibly confusing if your spouse is of a different religion or atheist and agnostic, and he's like, yeah, you can raise the kids Catholic, that's totally fine. But if the other spouse isn't going to mass every week, isn't explaining theology, isn't reading Catholic writings, it creates so much devastating confusion for the children. And so I think that's another reason why I really value marrying a practicing Catholic, so that we can pass on the faith to our children together and not create that confusion. And the curiosity and introspective thing towards theology, I think, is an amazing parenting strategy, because obviously kids will talk to other kids, they'll read different information, and they'll want to know, like, why does the church teach this? And because he's curious and introspective, he'll have answers for that. He'll share the long-term sociological effects of this teaching, how it impacts you long-term, why God wanted us to do this or believe this. And so I think that's an amazing way to keep our kids Catholic into adulthood. It's not this attitude of do this because it's true. Rather, it's like do this because of this. Like, explain the purpose of the teaching or the rule. I think that's really, really important for children. Something else I really value about his Catholicism is that we are very different in a lot of ways. And so my favorite Bible verses versus his are very different. Like, some of the Bible verses that I, like when I was growing up, I would say, oh, I hate this verse, I don't like it. Like, as an adult, I would say, like, I'm uncomfortable with it. Those are his favorite Bible verses. And so it's so cool meeting someone who like jives and connects with parts of the Bible that I don't, because we have very different personality types. And so I think understanding scripture, seeing it from a completely different perspective, I feel like has made my faith so much more alive. And so people say opposites attract a lot, and we're very similar in a lot of ways, but we're also very different. And I think that brings, a real newness and excitement, passion to understanding the Bible, the fact that someone else like is attracted to different parts of the Bible. And then also open to life. I talked about not using contraception, so that's kind of intertwined, but someone who is open to having children, who's excited to have children. Obviously, in Catholicism, when you get married, having children is a huge part of it. You can't go into marriage not wanting to have any children. So yeah, wanting to have a family together with children was really important. But you are a complete family unit, even if you don't have a child, if you're married. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the dynamic together, which I put above personality character traits, because I feel like a lot of those, are implied in being religious. But I think some people are like, oh, he's so nice and gentle. And it's like, that's great, but there has to be something deeper and more exciting. So obviously I'm physically attracted to him. I was since like the moment I saw him, I wanted to date him. So definitely that physical chemistry is there. And I think, that's good since we're going to have sex when we're married. So it's good to be physically attracted to him. Another aspect of dynamic is that I'm very interested in his life and his thoughts, in the way he sees the world, in what he's reading, in his work. And I could literally listen to him talk for hours and hours and hours, like not saying anything, just like asking questions and listening and learning about his life. I just find it so fascinating and exciting. And I have, that like emotional attraction to him as well, where I'm so excited to just like hear him talk. And so if you're, devoting like the rest decades and decades and decades of your life to someone, it's good that you're really excited to just listen. It's not just like, oh, I'm excited to share what happened in my day or share what I'm thinking, but I genuinely just have so much joy listening and listening and listening and wanting to know his life and his perspectives and like all these things on his childhood and what affected him growing up. I just find very, very interesting and fun. So the third part of this is that we have so much fun together. He's a very entertaining person. He's hilarious. We have so many inside jokes, and it's sad. We have so many like creative inside jokes that like are based on themes, and like no one else gets it. Like, I remember one time I said part of like an inside joke around my friends and like no one laughed or got it. And I was like, this is so sad. It's like the best inside joke ever. So I think because you're stuck with someone for so long, like it's really important that you have a lot of fun together. And it's not just a physical attraction. It's not just your morals line up with each other, but you really have fun together, because ultimately like the romance part of it will go up and down throughout your life. But that, you know, friendship level of having so much fun together, laughing together, I feel like that's going to last, that aspect of the relationship through everything. And so I think it's just so great that I'm like constantly laughing, that we're very happy, that I'm just in like such a positive mood when I'm around. I was about to say positive vibes and then I'm like, no, but I am wearing a California shirt, so I feel like that's kind of appropriate in this video. So yeah, and just being happy around him, I think is really, really important. So now we're going to go, I'll read some questions first. Okay. Tech Noah says, I'm watching this to figure out what good Catholic women look for. Wifey incoming. Okay. Travis says, save me from demons, Lizzie. We know how much I don't like people bringing up demons. I should make a YouTube video about demons, because people are always like saying that I need an exorcism because bipolar is a demon. So that'd be interesting if I actually like made a video about demons. Okay. So personality traits. So number one, he's a huge introvert, which I really like. I've always been attracted to introverts. I'm a huge extrovert. So obviously we have different ways we like to spend our time and different times that we spend with our friends and different activities and everything. But I don't know, I just for some reason always wanted to be with an introvert. So I really like that. Going along with that, one of the top personality traits I like is that he's emotionally intelligent. I don't really know how to put that into words, but emotionally intelligent is you're aware like how your words are affecting other people and how you're interpreting their words. It's not like you're just going through life and like meeting people and talking and interacting with people, but like he's very self-aware in like very detailed ways of how he's affecting other people. And he has been through traumatic experiences that can kind of interact with my wounds and what I've experienced. I've just been through so many hard things in my life, and I feel like if I was marrying someone who had like a very like cush life and had never gone through anything hard, I think that person would not fully know me. And so the fact that he's also been through really hard experiences in his life, we can connect on that level, which I think is really important. And obviously we've had totally different experiences with hardship we've gone through, but I feel like he has just developed an underlying empathy because we've both been through hard things. So another thing is that he's extremely caring, and it's on like an analytical level. Like he is always thinking about how to not trigger other people's insecurities, which is something I never knew people did. But every time that he's like texting someone, talking to someone who he knows really well, he knows what they've been through and what their experiences have been like, and he wants them to have great self-esteem and feel confident and be happy. And so he's not gonna say certain things that will bring out insecurities. So that's taught me a lot, which is another part of choosing who to marry, is that he's very different from who I am, and so I see the world through a totally different perspective, and I can grow different parts of my personality that he has, and he can grow certain parts of his personality that I have that he doesn't have. So throughout my entire life, I just say what I say and say what I feel and do what I do. I don't like overanalyze, like how will me saying this affect this person? Because I literally do not have any insecurities like at all. And so it's so hard for me to relate to regular people and be thinking about like, oh, this thing I could say could make them feel negative about themselves. Because for me, anyone could say anything and it doesn't affect my self-esteem at all. And so I've known since like my first semester of college, one of my friends pointed it out, because I didn't realize that about myself, but it like helped me understand the world so much better. So he's helped me how to interact with people as someone with no insecurities, how to not trigger other people's insecurities. So that's really helped me a lot to grow, and it's so cool seeing someone who thinks so deeply and cares so much about how he's affecting other people on a very analytical level. Something else with personality traits that I've noticed is he is completely honest with me, more honest than I am with other people. But like one example that you guys might not get how amazing this is, but I'm vegan. I've been vegan since 2015, and he eats mostly vegan now, but obviously I don't force him to eat vegan everywhere he goes. So if he goes out to dinner, or usually like his university cafeteria, there's like an all you can eat section, so sometimes he'll get dinner there and eat like 4 different plates of different types of meat. So he'll have like 4 different dishes of meat for dinner, and I'm like, oh, what do you have for dinner? And he's telling me, and I'm like, oh, that's so mean, rotting animal flesh inside you. So just the fact that he's really honest about that and doesn't lie about it, and it's fine if it causes problems, which I don't think it causes problems. I'm annoying about it, but I'm not, like dictatorial about it. So yeah, just extremely honest, even when it's hard, even when it hurts the other person. So I've learned a lot from that. Not that I lie all the time, but I feel like when I developed my mental illness, I actively lied about how bad it was to protect other people. And I think that's really like affected me psychologically. And so he's someone who's like completely honest, which is really cool. Okay, another thing, hardworking, which probably should have been number 1. But I'm a workaholic. Throughout my YouTube channel, I've worked, like 60, 70-hour weeks since graduating college. I'm very passionate about being productive and working. And if I was with someone who just, worked like an 8 to 5 job and wanted to like watch TV and relax and like wasn't ambitious, I think that person would feel really neglected. And so the fact that we both have like really strong work schedules and are really passionate about what we're doing, I think it just creates a vibe where it's not like, we want to spend like 3 hours a night watching a TV show. Like neither of us feel neglected because we're so passionate about what we do. And I've actually been thinking a lot about like work-life balance. Like I read this Instagram post talking about how like Catholics should be taking a Sabbath, like a day off from work. And if your career or business is making you not take a Sabbath and work too hard that you can't, stay connected to God, then that cannot be God's plan for your career. And I was like shocked, because it's like my work is evangelism. And so that really made me think, and I think I'm gonna reevaluate my work schedule. So that was very interesting. And then another thing that I think everyone can relate to is I just like who I am when I'm around him. I feel like different people bring out different aspects of your personality, and I genuinely like who I am. And I think if we broke up, I would lose part of me that I was around him. So yeah, those are, oh, I have even more character traits on the next page of the Google Doc. So we have totally different strengths. So we are completely different personalities. I think the ways that we are the same is we're hardworking, we really care about truth, we're very intense, very opinionated, very passionate about the world. And so I think those are our similarities, but we have totally different strengths. And I think having different strengths is really important for parenting, because then you will be able to connect with the different personalities of your children. And like one thing about me is I'm like very legalistic about health and rules and all these things. And he's like going to be like the cool parent and is like more lenient. And so I think that's a really good dynamic, because I'm just like, this is how it is. This is the best option. And he'll be more like, willing to have a conversation. And I think as a parent, like he's really funny. And when you make jokes to get your kids to do what you want them to do, it's a really good way of getting your kids to obey you if you make it a joke, rather than just being, you have to do this rule. So I think that's really important. I could go on and on about different personality strengths, but I think it's good that we have different ones. So then I want to talk about relationships. So I think that if you're dating someone who doesn't have friends, that's like a huge red flag, just because I think like making friends isn't that hard, especially if you grow up going to school or go to college or are in like a social work environment. If someone really isn't able to find friendships, that's super weird. And I think it's something that, you know, it is like a symptom of a bigger problem. And so I've met a lot of his friends and I love all of them. I don't think there's a single friend of his that I like didn't like. And the way he is around his friends, they're very intellectual, so many amazing conversations, and it's just really cool. We travel a ton together, so I've gotten to meet his friends from like different parts of the country, and it's been so cool learning like, you know, his college roommates and like his friends at his master's program. And so I just see meeting friends who are humble, who are intellectual, who care a lot about the world. That's really cool. And I just feel like you really get to know someone when you see who they choose to keep in their life and the type of people who want to keep him in their life. Also, family. Obviously, there are situations where the family doesn't like your significant other, and I have a lot of empathy for those situations. I was actually talking to one of my friends recently really in depth, and his significant other's parents do not like him. It's been several years, so that's super, super sad, and I know situations like that happen, but ultimately, when you do choose to marry someone, you're forever linking yourself to their family. And so I think getting along really well is really important. And something that I did with my family liking Trevor is so like both of our family live in different states than where each of us live. And so we were never able to like casually get dinner all the time with either of our families. So we didn't meet each other's families for like several years of when we were dating. So all that our family would know about the other person is phone conversations and conversations when we're visiting our families. So I might make a whole blog post about this, but in that situation, you have complete control over how your family views your significant other. And so you shouldn't just randomly share things like inside jokes, things that happen. You should be very, very intentional about revealing certain information to make them look good. And this is a whole other dynamic that I'm gonna talk about a lot on my social media and stuff that I've thought about so much. But I think a lot of people tell their friends everything and don't filter things. And I think it's really important to not gossip about problems in your relationship. I think you should work through them together. And of course, I think it's healthy if you have like an abusive thing going on in your relationship, share with your friends about it. But if you're just having like regular fights, regular classing, regular disagreements, it's not a good idea to always like go to your best friend and like complain about your significant other. And like usually your perspective is what they're doing wrong and not like introspective looking at you. And like your friends and family are naturally going to be like on your side. That's just how relationships are. Most people validate your side. And so it's not at all healthy to be going to your friends and family about like your fights and everything that's going wrong, drama in your relationship. So yeah, I think that's really important. So I think with your family liking your significant other, if you're newly starting a relationship, you are in complete control over what your family and friends think of your significant other. So keep that in mind. If they don't like him, it's probably something that you could choose. I know when I started dating my fiance, since we were both Catholic converts, my parents didn't want me being Catholic. So that was kind of a hurdle we had to overcome, but it wasn't something that I caused by saying a certain thing. But the dynamic of his family, I don't think you shouldn't marry someone because you don't like their family. But something that I've thought about, because I've heard situations where someone completely cuts out their entire family because their family doesn't accept their significant other. So if I was in a situation like that where I was dating someone for 3 years and my family hated my boyfriend, I think I would choose my family over a relationship and I would find someone else to marry, because I think it's really important having a relationship with your parents and your siblings and your grandparents and aunts and uncles. If they all hate the person you want to be with, I would choose someone else. I don't believe in soulmates. So yeah, if you feel like it's been a problem for so long that's insurmountable, where your family just hates who you are dating for whatever reason, I think it might be time to reconsider. You know, if you've done everything possible in sharing positive things and trying to get your family to like him or her, whoever, whatever gender you are, I just think maybe reevaluate marrying them. Which I know sounds harsh, but I love my family and I wouldn't want to create permanent friction with my family. I want my parents to know the children I have, to know their grandchildren. And so I think it is important for your family to be on good terms with them. Yolanda says some people may have toxic parents. Yeah, I mean, if you already have a bad relationship with your parents and then they don't like your significant other, you already have a bad relationship. So I'm mostly talking about if you have a wonderful relationship and there's like this one thing where they don't like your significant other. So before we get into the Q&A for the rest of the live stream, we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I want to talk about things that he doesn't have that I thought I definitely mandatory in someone who I would marry. So working out, I wanted a gym buddy. I wanted someone where we could go on runs together and do workout plans and strength training exercises. And my fiance doesn't work out. He doesn't like exercise. It's not at all a part of his life. And so that's something that I thought would change because we've been together for 4 years and I'm shocked that my behavior hasn't rubbed off on him yet because I'm so passionate about exercise. But yeah, that was something I definitely wanted, where I wanted to go to the gym together and work out and like all of that, because I feel like that's a huge part of my life. So he doesn't have that, but I'm fine with marrying him because I can stick to my workout schedule by myself. So another thing, a passionate vegan. I wanted someone who agreed with my animal cruelty ideology. So he actually has changed his diet so much since we started dating. And a lot of it, from my perspective, it's not just the animals, it's also his health with like his lifestyle in the past and everything. And so he's completely changed. He eats super plant-based now. And so that's really important to me to have that change, just because I want a totally vegan lifestyle, a vegan household. I'm gonna have vegan pregnancies, vegan children. And so that's something where I'm not gonna get home and there's like a carton of milk in the fridge, dairy milk in the fridge. If it's oat milk, almond milk, pea milk, hemp seed milk, or soy milk, great. But if there's like eggs in the fridge or dairy milk or meat or something, like that's not gonna work. So he is on board with the veganism thing, but obviously, like I was talking earlier about how he'll tell me how much meat he ate because he's so honest. So I'm not gonna ever force it on him, like when we go out to eat, but at home, that's something that he is willing to compromise on because it's so important to me. Something else that I thought I definitely wanted in a significant other was having the same style of music and being able to like jam to music together and share through that, because I feel like I understand my emotions so well through music, and he doesn't listen to music. He just doesn't like music that much. And so that's something that I thought I really wanted, but he's not like that. And it's fine. He understands his emotions through movies and TV shows, and I like grew up without that. So I think that's something else where like we can't relate to over it, because it's like I understand things through music, he understands things through TV and movies, and so I think that's kind of like a disconnected understanding each other. But since all the other things are there, that's not something that, you know, is like a deal breaker. And then the final thing is he loves horror movies and in general movies, and I do not like movies or TV shows. So that's something that we really can't bond over. And I mean, I do watch horror movies with him, and I like cover up my eye. He covers up my eyes for certain parts of it because I'm just so emotionally sensitive to violence. It's like part of bipolar disorder and my empathy, so it like doesn't jive with me. But the fact that we can't connect in that way is something that I would have been like, can't see myself with someone like that, but you can. Okay. Oh, something I forgot to say is I always wanted to marry a professor. So he's getting his PhD in religion, so he's going to be teaching at a university. So that's something that I really, really wanted because my dad is a history professor. And I just love how he brought like that intellectualism into our family. It was so powerful. And I love how when you teach, you have the summers off and you are able to be home and work at home a lot more than like a typical 8 to 5 job. So obviously he has to be on campus like for classes and office hours, but he can come home. And so I think that's a really good dynamic to like take care of children, that you both have like flexible work schedules. So I think that's really, really important. Okay. I'm gonna read your comments. We have an hour and a half left of the live stream, so I'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Well, one of the things is that Britney Spears is free! She got out of her conservatorship, which is so exciting. She actually was posting like Catholic things a few months ago, which was really funny. She was wearing like a Saint Benedict medal, so the whole Catholic world was like, what? What's going on? So that's really exciting. And she has, well, we don't know 100%, but from all the information, it seems like she has bipolar disorder. And so that's a whole aspect of it that is very, very horrible to see, is that through her conservatorship, she wasn't allowed to have children. Like, she has an IUD that she's not allowed to take off. And if we look at our nation's history of like sterilizing people with mental illness, the fact that that's still going on legally is horrible. So I'm really glad that she got out of that. And she also wasn't allowed to be married through her conservatorship, but recently she got engaged to her boyfriend, who's now her fiance. So I think that's so cool. It's really exciting. I think the whole country is so happy about it. But something that I've been reading that a lot of people have been saying as well is that there's so many other people who are stuck in conservatorship situations who aren't famous and don't have the power to hire really great attorneys. And so I think we need to continue this conversation because of that. So that's really exciting. Also, the Taylor Swift album just came out, Red. I actually haven't listened through it yet, just because, I don't know why. I listened to the All Too Well 10-minute version and I did not like it. So that didn't make me very excited to listen to the whole album, but I will. I just like, yeah, I don't know. The past few Taylor Swift albums, like Lover, Folklore, and Evermore, like I have not vibed with. So obviously I love Red, but yeah, I just like haven't been vibing with Taylor Swift lately. So I am excited to listen to the new ones. I was listening to State of Grace, Moment I Knew, and Come Back Be Here, which are some of my faves. So I also watched the music video to the 10-minute version of All Too Well, and oh my goodness, I hated it. There was this like dialogue portion where the music paused and they were just talking like in the middle of it a few minutes in. And it was so toxic. I'm sure you guys saw it. They were like cursing each other out and yelling at each other and like calling each other crazy. It was just so bad. And I don't understand why that we're glorifying it. And a lot of people might say, oh, we're not supporting it. But it's like both people were being toxic and so emotionally unhealthy. And I just don't understand why we need to see that and film it and put it out for the public. I think it will rub off on other people and they'll think, you know, like the female playing Taylor Swift, she's good in the situation, the guy is bad. And it's like, no, she was yelling at him too. So I did not like that part at all. Maybe that was her real situation with her when she dated, I don't want to say his name, because it's just so stupid. He's being dragged into this a decade later. But yeah, I really don't like having that shown. And a lot of songs, not a lot, but some songs do make me very, very uncomfortable because they're really talking about insecurity so much. And I think that validating certain emotions, I don't know, I don't like it. And it seems so bad that I think like this, because if you're feeling something, you can't say to someone, you're not feeling that, or like it's wrong to feel that, because you can't control what you feel. You can control your actions and you can control if you continue thinking through something, but like your initial emotional reaction to something, yeah, like I know it's real, but like when people make songs about these really toxic emotions and mentalities, like I don't want to name drop some right now, but it makes me extremely uncomfortable. And I'm like, that shouldn't be a song. So yeah, that's why I was very uncomfortable how it was portrayed. I totally get that there are abusive relationships going on, but I don't know anyone who wants to see a film chronicling and showing emotional abuse. I literally turned it off. And then I went back to it, but I was just like, ugh, like I hate listening to this. So yeah, not a fan, but I know a lot of people liked it. Cinematography was great, but that just like ruined it for me completely. Okay, Travis wants me to make a 7 Deadly Sins video. So I did a speaking event on the sin of gluttony that will take so much research. I would make it into 7 parts. I wouldn't make one video on the 7 deadly sins. One of my best friends was telling me last week that I should make a video rating books of the Bible, because apparently that's like a trend on YouTube where you like rate different things that are in one category. And I was like, there are dozens of books of the Bible. I can't make one video rating all of them. So I might make a video rating the New Testament. But he was also like, make a video like rating popes. And I'm like, there's so many, there's hundreds. Like, there's no way you can make one video being like, this Pope Gregory the Great, like, you know, going through all of them. Like, that's crazy. So maybe I could do a video like top 10 worst popes. Maybe that could be a video. Mimi says, viewing from the Philippines with love. So many people tell me to visit the Philippines so much. A lot of you are from there. Yolanda says, I prefer Taylor Swift's old style music than her new one. Yeah, I totally agree. Reputation was my favorite album. And I loved Red and Speak Now. Those 3 were my favorite. Fearless is so good too. I re-listened to a lot of it after the new version came out. So... Caitlin says, Pope Leo the Great is my birthday saint. His feast day is November 10th. This really big YouTuber, Catherine Cimarelli, that's, wait, no. Dominic was the name. Was it Leo? I don't think so. Let's see. Yeah, Leo is it. Okay. Michael says, sorry, I was in the kitchen. What was that movie review about, an overly emotionally movie? I was talking about the Taylor Swift All Too Well music video, but it was called a film because, you know, it was like 10 minutes long. Well, maybe like 12 minutes long with dialogue. Chaya, the top 10 popes. Yeah, so what my friend recommended me was like rating the modern popes. And I was like, oh my goodness, that'd be like so controversial. Like, you know, picking like Pope Francis versus Pope Benedict, like that'd just be a mess. So I was like, I would never do that. Patrick says, how was your laptop? Oh, I announced an hour ago. So I got a new laptop, a new MacBook. It was actually like $500 off from Best Buy. So it's kind of like the same one I had before, except it has a terabyte of storage rather than 500 gigabytes, which is so good. So I got a really good deal on it. I got AppleCare through Best Buy, which is actually cheaper, and it renews. So I can like keep getting AppleCare forever on this computer. So definitely get AppleCare. I did it on my last computer. I also didn't back up my last computer. So many regrets. So I think I have my external hard drive like in here somewhere. So I think I'm gonna leave it on my desk so I remember every day to back it up. Yvonne says, have you and Trevor ever bonded over St. Augustine? I love St. Augustine so much. So Augustine is actually his patron saint. So we absolutely love Augustine. I have Augustine pray for me, for him mostly all the time. So I feel like I definitely have a great relationship with him beyond just like an intellectual understanding, but like an emotional connection too, which is super sweet. Patrick says, excited for the new videos coming. I'm so excited too. I'm definitely gonna make my wedding dress shopping video because we got a ton of footage at it. One of my bridesmaids filmed it. So I'm going to show you which dress I chose because a lot of people don't like reveal that until the wedding. But I'm like, why am I this guy's gonna make you wait that long? I just thought I would reveal it in the video. So you're gonna have to watch till the end of the video to see it, but I did try on, I think like 6 or 7 dresses. It wasn't that many. So at the end, I'll show which one I chose. And I will mention in the video, because I feel like I'm gonna get so much hate, but a lot of the dresses I tried on had like lower necklines. And so I definitely, like in the footage, I literally am talking about my modesty standards. So it was real. But I am, when the dress comes, I'm going to have them take some of the lace from the bottom that like we hem off and put it over the bodice. And then I'm gonna add some of the lace to the back as well to make it more modest. But yeah, just like literally all the dresses had like a lower, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like a ton of cleavage, but it made me uncomfortable because I don't ever like having any amount of cleavage. So, okay. Chaya says, I need to get my schedule back together so I can finish some video scripts and start uploading after 4 years. Wow, that's crazy. Yolanda, was he always Catholic? Are you talking about St. Augustine or my fiance? St. Augustine grew up Catholic, left the faith, became a Manichaean, and then he converted back into the faith as an adult. So his mom, St. Monica, was praying for so long for his conversion. So it's so great that those prayers pulled through. Sheila, is she on TikTok too? Yes, I have a TikTok. My name is LizziesAnswers. I have so many TikToks to film that I haven't uploaded, so I need to work on that too. I've been working like 30 hours a week with 2 different jobs in person just because I got very like stressed and overworked and like burnt out from YouTube, and so I wanted to work with people in person in like an extroverted environment. So it's so fun. I love working in person. There's like never a moment of my day where I don't want to be there. So I think that's really, really good to be like really happy with work and what you're doing in life, and to not feel like work is a negative thing. So I'm very blessed in that account, and I'm very happy. And it's really good being able to save up money because that was a priority for me moving forward. So Yolanda says your fiance, I mean. Yeah, so he converted into Catholicism a few years ago. He grew up agnostic, atheist. He became Protestant in high school. And he was part of Christian church, which is from the Stone Campbell movement that Church of Christ came from. It's called the Restoration movement in the late 19th century, 20th century. So he was part of that for 10 years, and he actually went to a Christian university based in Christian church. Then he went to Pepperdine, which is Church of Christ, and then he went to 2 other schools. So the school he's currently at is Catholic, which is great. 3 Protestant schools. Patrick says, did you know that the fastest canonization of a saint is Saint Peter of Verona, 11 months only, beating Saint Anthony of Padua by 15 days only, and he was a Dominican friar. Okay. Tia says, are you planning on getting a pet when you get married, or do you not want pets because of your veganism? I know some don't think having pets is okay, so I don't know. That's a really interesting perspective where some vegans are against having pets. I have never interacted with a vegan who's against pets. Like, there's no vegan YouTubers who are against pets. Like, most vegans are animal lovers, and so they have a lot of pets, but I have like read that perspective. I haven't read an article on it, but I've read that people think like that. So I disagree with that perspective, and I feel like maybe like ontologically you could say you don't want to domesticate any animals, but the current position we're in is that there's tons of cats and dogs at animal shelters who need to be adopted. And so I could understand why that's someone's like ontological view, but in the real world, like these pets need homes. And so I don't know about dogs. I never had a dog growing up. I'm not a dog person, so I don't know how they are. But I know like domesticated cats, like a lot of them couldn't live in the wild because they've been declawed, which I'm actually against. But cats like love being in homes. Like they're very content. They don't want to go out and walk everywhere. And every cat is different, so some of them are not domesticated. but like my family had a cat growing up, and sometimes like my dad would try to take him outside. Like we had like a cat leash for him, and we would like set him on the ground, and he like refused to move. Like he did not want to walk around. So many pets are like that. I definitely think with like owning a dog that if you have a small apartment, it's not that ethical, because I think dogs want to like run outside and walk around and everything. So I feel that, but also like if there's so many dogs that need to be adopted, they would be happier being in a small apartment than not being adopted. So who knows? Anyways, we're probably not going to get a pet. Recently he expressed interest in getting a cat, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. So I would like to have a cat, but I feel like maybe once we have children, we could get like a family pet or something together. But right now, I think we're more interested in having children than having a pet. Patrick said, do you reckon there will be a third Vatican Council in the future regarding there are many new issues right now that was not the case in the 1960s? I mean, I think we'll definitely have an ecumenical council in the future, but I don't know if it'll be called Vatican III, because there are so many different options of names for councils. Oh my goodness, Travis is posting some really like sexist stuff. Okay, getting rid of that. Yvonne says, do you have any ideas on what you would want to name your children? So I don't really have any perspectives. I always loved the name Estella growing up, but his brother's children, one of them is named a similar name to that. So they were like, you can't name your child that. So yeah, other than that, I've never really thought of names for children at all. So obviously we're gonna pick Catholic names, and my fiance is very opinionated and passionate about different names for children. So I am gonna not let us name a child something that's embarrassing. So a lot of people might not think this is embarrassing, but I don't want to name the kid some name that's like super uncommon or something. Like, let's think of a name that would be very weird. Like Ignatius, that's not a name that people are. Tertullian, Chrysostom. Tertullian's a heretic, so I don't think any Catholic would name their kid Tertullian. But you know, names like that, Chrysostom, like that are like really weird and like not current names that people have thought of. Dymphna, yeah, weird. So I just don't want the kid to get bullied. So we're gonna pick a name that is Catholic, but that is not a weird name. And for the middle name, you could pick a weird name, but not for the first name. So I don't know though, millennials are naming their kids like the randomest things. So maybe like it would be on trend to pick like a non-normal name. People name their kids things that aren't even names. So Origin was also a heretic. Did I say Origin? I don't think I said that. Michael, that's true. Michael is a good name. Joshua says, I struggle with bipolar and generalized anxiety disorder. That's so sad. One of my best friends has GAD. And yeah, it's so interesting seeing like how it affects her life in so many ways. Because I feel like with bipolar disorder, once you're on medication, like it doesn't really affect your life that much, but it affects her life so much even though she is on medication. So, and I feel like bipolar symptoms other people don't really see unless they like live with you and are really close with you, but her symptoms I do experience when we're together. Joshua says, are you thinking about Catholic school, homeschool, or public school? So I'm honestly open to anything. So many Catholic influencers homeschool, and so for a while I was like, we should homeschool. But I don't think that's possible just because we both really want to work full time. We're very passionate about that. And so I feel like time-wise, just economically with the types of jobs that we're gonna have, one of us could not stay home. And I think it's amazing that some people are in a situation where one of the parents makes so good money that that can work. But for us, from a financial perspective, like my fiance wants to become a college professor and they don't make six figures, well, Some do if they're super famous. But you know, like the average salary for a professor is not something that could support like an entire family. So that's part of why we're not going to most likely not going to homeschool, because of the time commitment. But also it's like, I want to work full time as well. It's not just like we can't, it's like I want to as well. So obviously, like I was saying before, I always wanted to marry a professor. My dad's a professor because of the time freedom. Like my dad spent all summer with us constantly, and he could like pick us up from school and like go to all our events, like sports tournaments and music performances, everything he was able to go to because of like flexible schedule being a professor. So I think that's great with children, but I think that's not going to work out logistically homeschooling. A lot of Catholic schools churn out atheists, and so it would completely depend on the specific Catholic school. It's not something where we would be like, we want to send them to Catholic school. So I think like a Catholic school based on classics, I think would be really, really good. Patrick, are you still going to do YouTube after having children? Yes, I definitely want to continue my YouTube channel. I think I'll have so many new perspectives as a parent. And I know a lot of people ask questions about like how to teach the faith starting when your child is like a baby and a toddler onward. And I think obviously I'm going to do a ton of research, but I think it'll be really, really cool sharing the ways that I'm sharing the faith with them when they're young. And so it'll be really cool to share that perspective. One of the girls in my Bible study, she has 4 siblings, and her parents pray. Obviously, like she and some of her siblings are in college, but with her younger sister, the parents pray together every night, and they do petitions, thank you prayers, and then the typical Catholic memorized prayers. So praying like that with children, I think, is really, really important. Joshua says, I am on disability, but I can work part-time with it. If I was to have a wife and children, I would homeschool at least part of the subjects, if not all of them. Yeah, that's really, really cool. And my dad was a stay-at-home dad for 5 years when he was doing his PhD. He like had his classes when we were in school or when my mom could be home. So it was really cool. I think a lot of people always think of like the mom as the stay-at-home parent, but my dad was stay-at-home for 5 years. My mom was stay-at-home for 5 years. So we got the best of both. Brooke, are you still doing Bible studies over Zoom? No, everything for my job has turned in person. And as for on YouTube, no. I was so burnt out earlier this year doing Fiat 90 and Exodus 90 and all of that. So yeah, I mean, it could happen in the future again, but right now I'm working a lot and don't have time for it, but I absolutely love getting to know subscribers on that level. Travis says, I've been eating 3,000 calories on and off gluttony. They say for drinking alcohol, not food. Right, gluttony, one of the 7 deadly sins. I don't feel any bad vibes being in demon mode. Oh my goodness. What? I don't understand what's going on in this comment. So first of all, 3,000 calories a day could be normal for a lot of people. I know before I turned 23, I was eating like 3,000 calories a day, and that was just based upon like I have a really high metabolism and I would do really intensive workouts a lot. So that was normal for me. But I know once I turned 23, my metabolism just like suddenly dropped and I started eating a lot less. I think I eat around like 2,000 calories now. But 2,100, when I've tracked, it's been like 2,100. But yeah, people need different caloric needs, especially men. And so I think that, yeah, I don't know how many calories you need. Travis says, overeating the 2,500 calories, I heard it's gluttony. Like, no, I mean, see a medical professional, see a nutritionist, and determine your caloric needs. But it's totally different for each person. 2,000 calories is seen as like the average, but it's totally different for each person. And I mean, you could also chart your food and see when you feel full and stuff. But I honestly think that wouldn't be a good guide of how many calories you need, just because you'll feel full if you're eating foods with high fiber count. Whereas like if you're eating brown rice and a ton of veggies, like it fills your stomach more. But if you're eating like just a little bit of meat, that's like high calorie, like oil and meat, but it doesn't fill up your stomach as much. Pure intensity, is gluttony a sin? Yes, it's considered one of the 7 deadly sins. I think our understanding of gluttony is often wrong. I did a whole like speaking event on it. So if you YouTube search gluttony, then you'll be able to find it. But yeah, I think the way we think of it today, we think of it as just like eating a ton of desserts all at once, but it can be a lot of things. Patrick, what's your favorite religious order and congregation? So I feel like I have not studied and explored the religious orders enough to make a claim about that. But I think it's really, really cool sharing with non-Catholics about the different focuses and emphases of different groups. So Brooke, Adair, do you want to be a missionary? So I feel like I do missionary work through my YouTube channel. I reach the whole world. And so, not the whole world, but I mean like every country. So I think my missionary work through my YouTube theology videos is so powerful. And if I went in person, obviously building those relationships is so important. But of course, I'm able to reach like tens of thousands of people through YouTube, which I think is so amazing. And I think it's right where God wants me to be. Nathan Tucker, hey Lizzie, haven't seen you in forever. I know I haven't been on here in forever. So yeah, it's been so weird stepping away from YouTube, but I definitely needed the break. I was so burnt out at the beginning of this year just because I'd been working like 70-hour weeks for 4 years. So I really needed a break. I got some other jobs in person. It's been so fun. I hope you remember me. Aw, yes, I do recognize people from live streams, which is really cool because it's definitely an interesting relationship where like I share a ton about myself and people know a ton about me. And I get a lot of messages hearing depths of people's lives. But I like the live streams because there's like consistency in seeing certain comments. And actually, I used to do like Ask Lizzie Q&As. I should do one. That would actually be a really good welcome back video. So yeah, I used to do Q&As. I started when I was in high school. So we've been doing Q&A videos for like a decade. And of course, when I edit a video, I have to rehear the same part like over and over and over again. So like I memorize those names. So there's people who like will be in a live stream and I'm like, I remember that name from college when I did an Ask Lizzie video. So Tia says, what if you went on tour like some YouTubers do, but like you could tour at pretty churches, you know? So I did a lot of speaking events before COVID happened. And so I would meet subscribers at events, which was really cool. I would always like advertise what church I would be at. And then people would show up, which was so cool. And looking back, that's like extremely dangerous because anyone could show up. So yeah, I'm really worried about my wedding too. I'm gonna have like one of my best friends with like a metal detector and like making sure everything is safe coming in. So one of my friends who's in the military. Caitlin says you should do a 13 signs video about marriage engagement. Oh my goodness, I should do a throwback. Okay, I'm gonna write this down. Okay. Here we go. Video ideas. New videos. Ask Lizzie. 13 signs you should get married. That's get married. I need to keep coming up with new 13 signs. It's so nostalgic. Okay. Blood covenant, veganism is always attributed to liberalism. I disagree with that just because the vegan movement goes so far back. Like in the Middle Ages, people were vegan, and actually in US history, in like the 18th century, 17th century, there were a lot of vegan, not 17th century, what am I thinking? Before the US started, there were vegan movements going on. And so the modern vegan movement might be like more associated with liberalism, But before we had American political parties, veganism was a thing. So yeah, and I actually know like a ton of vegans through online, of course. And there's vegans of like all political perspectives. I think that like the vegans that you hear about are very loud and extreme and controversial, and that's the same with any political movement, but people who are actually vegan are just like normal people, you know. So yeah, I don't think it's associated with either. Definitely there's this philosophy called speciesism that a lot of vegans hold that I actually don't. And it's that there's no ontological difference between human animals and non-human animals, and I disagree with that because I think humans are definitely above animals, and that doesn't mean that we should abuse and kill them. But a lot of vegan movements do stem from this underlying belief, and there's a term called like animal rights. They want non-human animals to have like human rights of protection and not being killed and all these things. So I disagree with that. Speciesism might be inherently liberal. I don't know. There's just vegans of all political perspectives, just like any issue. So. Magelli, do you struggle having long nails? No, I absolutely love long nails. There are certain things where it's really hard to do. So opening like a soda or LaCroix, I never drink soda, but like I drink LaCroix. So what I have to do is get a butter knife, put it under the tab, and then pull up because you can't open it with your hand. Putting on jewelry is really hard. So necklaces actually have like clasps you can attach where you can put it in. Earrings are so annoying. Like I can do it, but using like the metal ones is really hard. But you know how there's earring backs that are like plastic circle and then the back? Those, it's way easier to put in. One thing is making sure your thumbnails are not as long. So if you see, my nails are like way longer than my thumbnails because you have to be able to text. And so when I'm at the nail salon and they're like using the, whatever it's called, to saw them down, I'm like, wait a second, and I get my phone and I like practice texting. So my thumbs are always way shorter. That's really important. And when you text, it like taps on your phone, which I love the sound. Some people find it really annoying. My fiance is like, oh, I hate that sound. So you have to text from like a different angle. You can totally tie shoes. What else is hard to do? I think that's it. I think it's just like jewelry and LaCroix cans. I don't think there's anything else that's difficult. So, okay. Magelli says, you trying to pronounce my French name is funny. That's how we say it in the US. It's the name of one of our products. So everyone pronounces it like that. Okay, you should do a 13 signs video of people that are going to join the Catholic Church. I have a video similar to that. It's called, I'll write that down, but I think the video I made in 2018 is like the exact same video, although remaking content is probably really good. So that you don't run out of content. 13 signs you will become Catholic. That actually, I should totally make a video. I made a video like reasons that, like 5 reasons Church of Christ people become Catholic. And then, let's see. It's like signs you won't become Catholic, but like said from like a comedic perspective, because it's like, I didn't know I would become Catholic. I don't know if that makes sense. Let's see. It won't come up, huh? Yeah, this was so long ago, I don't even know what it's called. So let's see. Yeah, I can't find it. I mean, I would have to go back. The really annoying thing about the current like YouTube creator space is that when you go to see your videos, you can't so they have like a ton of videos, and you can press like back button to go to older videos, but you can't just go like 2018 videos. You have to like go back, so it takes like so long to find things, but you can search for them. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, I'm gonna go to YouTube Studio. I think it's like signs you won't or something. I don't know, let's see. Okay, I feel like YouTube Studio just changed. Uploads, filter, title, let's see. Won't. I feel like it has the word won't in it. Nope. Yeah, sad. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. It's a similar video though, we'll see. Vince, thank you so much for the donation. I hope you're doing well. I think you and Trevor are a really cute couple. My life has gotten better. I miss our Bible study Zoom calls last year. Oh, that was really special. Yeah, I guess that was part of why 2020 wasn't horrible, because I had so many like virtual Zoom things that made like the non-human contacts a little better. Tia says, I love the look of long nails, but I physically can't do it. I have to keep mine so short because if they touch something they shouldn't, it's like nails on a chalkboard for me and I shiver. You have to put acrylic or gel. Because like, let's see. That's paper. Yeah, because when you when you put acrylic over it, it's not as sharp. And actually it's really good. Like if I ever have a mosquito bite and I have my acrylics on, you don't tear into the skin at all. So it's annoying, like if you have an itch, it doesn't really itch it very well, but it's really good. Shaya says, have you made a video dealing with how to handle long distance relationships? Yes, just YouTube search Lizzie's Answers long distance relationship. I made it at the beginning of 2018 when I'd been dating my fiance for like 6 months. So it was the beginning of our long distance. Yvonne says, will you be making Advent vlogs again? I love the ones you made in 2020. That's so true. I don't know. What am I going to do? When does Advent start? Because I'm definitely going to be traveling a lot. So let's see. You're right. We did Advent vlogs last year. That was so fun. Advent starts in 2 weeks, right? Let's see. November 28th. So I'm going to be gone for Thanksgiving. Let's see. Continue. So Thanksgiving is the 20. Oh, okay. I'll be back in California then. So I'm going to be home. Yeah, I'll think about it. I don't think I want to do it. I don't like follow me around vlogs at all. It's just like, let's see. Advent follow me around vlogs. We'll see. And the thing that is annoying about follow me around vlogs is that I wish I could film like going on walks around my neighborhood and like the restaurant I'm going to, but because of security reasons, I never want to share where I am or like around where my neighborhood is. So I feel like a lot of YouTubers, they're able to film like when they're going around town and stuff, and I just don't want to because I'm scared. And I've just had really scary situations with subscribers before, so that's why I'm like that. And I think every YouTuber should be like my level of concern, but okay. Brooke Adair, what are your favorite guided prayer apps? So the Hallow app is Catholic that a lot of people use, but I don't need guided prayer apps. I feel like I pray great on my own, but I know some people need that. What is, I don't know what that word is. It's probably Latin for sure. Magali, do you type on the computer with your nails or finger pads? Let's see. Oh, the thing that is so difficult about having long nails is when you're buying something at a store and you put your debit card in and you have to like press the numbers for your code. It's so hard. Like, I used to have much shorter nails. Maybe they were like here instead of here. And so I was able to do it like at this angle, but now I can't. So I have to press it with my nail. And like some of them, if it's like a smoother surface rather than the cushy surface, it's like, like it's so difficult. So that's very annoying, having to buy stuff at the store. So hard. Okay, someone was asking how I type. Yeah, I type with my fingernails. You just have to be up at like a bigger angle. But yeah. Yeah, so I never type with my nails. And you just like I feel like normally you type like that. You have to type like at a higher angle is the only thing. And then when I started getting longer nails, I had to change my phone. So now I have the iPhone where your face opens it. But before I had the one with thumbprint. And so I had to change it because your thumbprint angle before would be like this. But now it has to be like that angle. And so I had to change that and the Touch ID on my computer. So the one like, you guys see like this thing right here? Because before you could go like that, but with your nails you go like that. So the thumbprint still works. It's just like a different angle of your thumb. So, okay. Travis says, Lizzie, make a crown. For myself. Caitlin says, I like short nails. Chaya, I always keep my nails short. Yes, some of my friends are like, why are your nails so long? And I'm like, what? It's so trendy to have long nails. I think because I just follow a lot of influencers and celebrities and all of them have really long nails. But some of my friends were like, why? Do you like it? And I'm like, it's so cute. And they're like, does Trevor like it? And I'm like, yeah, he thinks it's so cute. So... Caitlin says, I used to be obsessed with painting my nails and would always do cool designs, but now I'm lazy and barely paint my nails anymore. Yeah, I feel like it's such a fun thing to do like as a teenager and in college and everything, but we always grow out of things. I mean, some people are still into doing their nails, but yeah, I used to do my nails, but because I have to film videos and my nails are in my videos when I'm like talking and stuff because I talk with my hands, that's why I started getting them done, because it would just be so annoying. Like, for some reason, I tried different nail polishes and they would always like come off because I'm like always moving my hands and hitting things. And so it would be like I'm about to film and I have to like redo my nails, not just put on makeup. And so what I like about these is I'm set for a month. And I have to be at the salon for like an hour and a half, but I'm set for a month and I don't have to think about it. And so that's what I really, really like about them. Caitlin says, I like press-on nails because they are pretty and low effort. Yeah, a lot of people have been getting those. I don't know if they would work on me. They'd probably fall off. I'm so bad at stuff like that. Mecca says, I have so many old nail polishes that I don't use. Yeah, I should do my toenails. My toenails sometimes I'll paint, but not my fingernails. So I need to go to the doctor. I have like a really weird like... I don't think I'm going to show you guys, but it's like a brown mark like under my nail, and Trevor thinks it's cancer. So I was trying to make an appointment with a dermatologist, but they're like, you have to get a referral from a regular general doctor. And I'm like, ugh, I have to find a regular doctor. That's so annoying. I hate our medical system because like, health insurances are so annoying, how there's so many different ones. You can't just like go to a doctor. You have to like research and like call a ton, and then like each health insurance has like 10 types within the health insurance. So it's super annoying. But yeah, I just don't go to regular doctors because I go to my psychiatrist, and I've done blood tests before with my diet and everything's fine. So, I mean, my diet has changed a lot through the years, so maybe I should just get blood tests done to make sure I have all my vitamins, but like I take a multivitamin and I eat a variety of foods, so not worried, but maybe I should do a checkup. Do you guys do checkups? I do like my eye appointment because I have to have contacts, and then my psychiatrist, of course, and then dentist. But like regular doctor, it's like I'm super healthy. So if something comes up, I'll go. Jordan casually just mentions that she might have cancer. So it's most common in people who are like, I think it was 50 or 60 and over. So it'd be really rare. It's genetic. So there is a lot of cancer in my family, and it's not caused by lifestyle, which I'm so excited to hear, because people are going to be like, you said veganism prevents cancer and you got cancer, but it's not caused by lifestyle. Veganism only completely prevents 40% of cancer. So it can help with other types of cancer, but it doesn't like completely prevent it. So yeah, I've never said veganism prevents 100% of cancer. I don't think any vegans have ever said that. 40%, 100% prevents and reverses 40% of cancer. So like colon cancer, breast cancer are two of them. And then also reverses diabetes, heart disease, prevents stroke, all of those things. But yeah. Joshua says, I used to receive the Eucharist on the tongue until COVID hit, but I don't know if they have restored receiving on the tongue. Sometimes I thought I'll defile the sacrament by receiving on the hand, but that's wrong. Yeah, absolutely. Like your emotion is real, and I understand that you feel like that. And like it does make sense to me that you feel like that. And I think it's even good that you have that amount of reverence for God and that amount of viewing God as holy and other. I think that's really beautiful. But of course, the church allows it on the hand as well. Totally fine. I travel a lot, and during COVID, some parishes would do on the tongue, but they just had their hand sanitizer next to it, so they would sanitize before and after, or they made them go last. So yeah, a lot of parishes were actually doing it. Yeah, so I've been to both. Some were only receiving on the hand, a lot of people were receiving on the tongue. So, okay. Joshua says, my dad is a cancer survivor. My paternal grandfather and my maternal grandmother died of cancer. So many people in my family have died of cancer. Like, my uncle died when he was like in his 40s from colon cancer. My grandma died of breast cancer like 15 years ago. My mom has lymphoma cancer right now, which is crazy. And it like went away and then it came back. So we're gonna see. But honestly, my family is being so strong about it. So it's not like a horrible negative mentality essence with my family, but it was pretty shocking to me just because my mom lives a generally healthy lifestyle, but it's just like so much in my family. So Jordan says, some Orthodox churches in my city were using multiple spoons for the Eucharist during COVID, and the church I've been lucky to attend doesn't do that since the Eucharist can't spread diseases. Wrong! The Eucharist can spread diseases. It is extremely unlikely to happen, but it can. So some of my friends are like really concerned when they come to a Catholic church, like pre-COVID, because we receive the Eucharist also out of the chalice, the wine that becomes the body, blood, soul, divinity of Christ. So they think that's so unsanitary. And I'm like, no. Because of the alcohol content in the wine, it can spread through the wine. And we use a disinfectant alcohol wipe on every part of it once people drink out of it. And I was like, even during extreme flu seasons, the CDC allows it. So I wonder if they allowed it during COVID. Let's see if the government said anything. I'm curious, because we didn't. I thought that was just our bishops being proactive. I didn't know it was like the whole country. Let's see. CDC, Catholic. Okay, let's see. Huh. Yeah, it wasn't the CDC. It was our bishops deciding. That's so interesting. I mean, I guess we do have freedom of religion, so they can't tell us what to do. I mean, they did shut down churches and they don't allow us to sing and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird that they didn't say we can't receive with the wine. I guess that's like too intimate of a, because they also said like we are allowed to do confession during the pandemic. A lot of churches did, even when mass was closed and everything. But yeah, that's interesting that they didn't tell everyone that, huh? Brenda says, do you have any tips on how to start if you want to know more about the Catholic Church? I've always been Catholic, but I feel like it would be nice to get to know it a little bit more. There are a ton of Catholic YouTube channels that have a ton of resources on it. In my YouTube videos, I'm always sharing the primary sources of what you can read. There is a website called New Advent Catholic Encyclopedia, and it's like Wikipedia, but legit. And on the website, they have like a ton of entries on literally any saint, any theology topic. And so if you go on there, you can just read article after article about different saints. They also have a ton of like early church books and online for free. So like one example is St. Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologica. The Summa is fully online, and the way they've organized it is you can Google like Aquinas Sin of Gluttony, Aquinas Relics, Aquinas Mary, Aquinas Purgatory, and an article will come up, and it's not like when you think of a book online, sometimes it'll have like both pages small and you can like flip through. No, it's like a web page. So it's just like that. It's normal big text, and it's just like 2 or 3 pages on the topic. So I think it's so cool. And Aquinas quotes a lot of church fathers and saints from the early church and theologians. So it's not just you're like reading Aquinas' perspective, but he's always referencing back. And so that's really, really cool, just being able to Google. And always put New Advent when you Google. Always do like Summa, Aquinas, topic, New Advent, and New Advent will come up. So that's really cool. I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by Aquinas, but it's set up so easily. So instead of just being like 5 paragraphs you read through, it's set up as lists. And so it'll be like question 1, and it'll be like 3 sentences. And then it'll be like response 1, 2 sentences, response 2, 1 sentence. And then it has the rebuttals to the responses. And so it's just like, it's so easy. It doesn't feel like you're reading this like really intense theologian. It's just like the logic formulas. It's so easy to follow. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people, if you say Aquinas is easy to follow, they're like, no way. But like the way it's set up, it's not set up like a normal book. It's set up with just like a page of logic formulas. So easy, so straightforward. Everyone can understand it. So that's really fun. What else? Okay, so there's an app called Magnificat. It's also online, but I have the app on my phone. And they have the mass for every single day, just like the liturgy. And they have the saint of the day referenced. And they'll have like sentences talking about the saint. So I think that's really cool if you like read along with the mass prayers every day, and then you could like Google the saint and like read more about that saint. And so I think that's a really easy way to get to know like bits of information about different saints, just like follow it. And I don't think you have to buy the Magnificat subscription to do that. I think you could just, let's see if you can Google and find it online. I'm not sure you can find on other places. Let's see. Okay, Catholic Mass Liturgy today. Let's see if there's another website doing it. Daily Mass and readings. Nope. The order of Mass. Let's see. Nope. Liturgy, Mass readings, Divine Office, Solemnities. Yeah, no, I can't find it. You could research more. Just Google like Catholic Mass Liturgy today. That's what I Googled, and like the first few links don't have it. So I would look through, but the Magnificat subscription, I think it's like $50 a year. which what is like less than $5 a month. And they have not only the liturgy, but they have like liturgy hours, prayers for the morning, for the evening, and before you go to bed. So it's like a really easy way to set up a prayer life and everything. Patrick says, long live the Summa, long live Aquinas, angelic doctor. It's so interesting because like in the book of Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament, King Solomon talks about how like people who were so iconic at a certain time, like no one cares about them in 100 years. And that's so true. Like so many people who is like the emperor or like the best intellectual, like no one cares anymore or knows who they are. Like we briefly learn about them in school or something, or like some scholar expert cares about them. But other people like are super iconic centuries later, and that's very interesting to me. Like I super wonder if like St. Augustine or St. Aquinas knew in their lifetime that like 1,000 years later, they'd be super popular. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if they knew. And other saints who've become so iconic, like St. Teresa of Lisieux, the Little Flower, like, did she know she was going to become like one of the most famous saints in the world? Like, there's no way they knew. I don't know. I've asked my fiance and he's like, I think Augustine knew he'd be remembered because he was just like so famous. He wrote over like 100 books, but yeah, it's so interesting like who fades out of style and who continues to be popular. But okay. Brenda says, that's so nice. Here in Brazil, we have the liturgy of the day for free, but books about the early church are quite hard to find. Thanks so much for the tips. I'll definitely take a look into them. Yes, that was so important when I was converting, how everything is free available online. Ben said, St. Teresa said, collect my fingernails, I'll be a saint. At least my aunt said that. No, she did say things like that where she like knew she was going to become a saint. Definitely like she wanted to become a saint, but I don't think she realized how famous she would be. That's all that I mean. But yeah. Collect my fingernails. It kind of comes across like she had an ego to talk about stuff like that. Because like, yes, I want to be a saint in heaven. I want to pray for people, but I don't want to be famous. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's a really big distinction. And I feel like she kind of like was on the line of like wanting to be famous. But I don't know, maybe I misinterpreted what I read about her and like I read her like diary. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way, some of the stuff that I read. But everyone's different, cultural differences too. Philip says, how is your mania and depressed days doing? That was not proper grammar structure. But my medication has been working really well. I've been constantly on meds since 2018. So it's been like 4 years constantly on meds, which is really good. I'm not really having episodes, but I'm experiencing a lot of brain damage. And a couple months ago, I was reading a ton about it and I was like crying, not a lot, but crying some because I was like freaking out and like really stressed about it and like really worried about it and down. But I've kind of accepted that my brain is going to cognitively decline gradually throughout the rest of my life. And there's nothing I can do about it. I can stay on meds. I can get enough sleep. I can do cardio for an hour every single day. I can eat the best diet and I still will have gradual cognitive decline. So that's been really a thing. My memory has gotten a lot worse. My ability to process and understand something intellectual I'm reading is not there all the way. Yeah, just like my intelligence is down, which I know a lot of people don't like when I say that, but there's like objective indicators that we have of intelligence, and processing speed is one of them. So my processing speed is really down as well. So I'm just experiencing like my brain shrinking more, which I was told that if I stayed on meds and was not in a depression or manic episode, I would not have brain damage. And something else I learned is that it's permanent brain damage from the episodes. Like after a depression episode, if I wasn't in another episode for a year after, my brain would completely restore. But I went off meds after getting out of my depression episode and I was manic. And so, yeah, I can't do anything about it. So I have like bipolar people have a 10 to 20 year decreased lifespan. So that's like 15 less years. And of course, some of it is caused by alcoholism and drug use and suicide, but a lot of it is not suicide. It's just based upon the stress you put on your brain and your other organs in episodes, which makes sense. So tons of sleep deprivation in mania and in depression. There's so much sleep deprivation, even if you're sleeping for like 12 hours. Because your body flips, and instead of being in deep sleep for 2/3 of the night and REM sleep for 1/3, your brain flips and you're in deep sleep for only 1/3 of the night and REM sleep for 2/3 of the night. So in depression, you're gonna be sleep deprived unless you're sleeping like 16 to 18 hours a day. You're going to be sleep deprived, which will cause brain damage. So yeah, all of that really takes a hit on the body and brain, but it's super weird that even when you're not in an episode and taking your treatment seriously, there's still that cognitive decline. And I think one of the things that really stressed me out was learning about early onset dementia. I have like a 4 to 5 times increased chance of getting that, which really stresses me out because that's like the same horror of depression is dementia. So praying I don't get that, but I know the people in my life will take care of me if I do. So really sad about that. But I mean, there's nothing I can do at this point. Like all I can do is focus on working out a lot. And I've been doing this app called Elevate, which has like reading comprehension and grammar and math and all of these things, history, to work your brain, work every part of your brain. So I've been doing that to improve my memory and cognition and everything. And I think it's been working. I feel like sharper. And I've been doing like longer runs. So hopefully that will help a lot. But part of it is like out of my control. So yeah, super sad. But I think in college, when I went through my depression and like lost my intelligence by a lot, I kind of like mourned that a lot. And I never really thought it would completely come back. I always knew it was permanent. So I've kind of already like made peace with losing my intelligence. And so I think it's fine if it gets worse because I already lost like the best part of it. So yeah, it's been kind of weird. My fiance has been pointing it out because my memory's gotten worse with remembering things, and he'll like send me articles to read or explain something to me, and I won't get it. Like I won't be able to understand it at all. So super sad, but it's gonna be okay. Okay. Travis says God's plan will make you not have brain damage, Lizzie. No! So God has his active and his permissive will. So God's active will would never give someone bipolar or cancer or ulcerative colitis, but his permissive will allows these things to happen. So Caitlin says, what? Wait, I just remembered to take my meds today. I almost forgot. I'm so happy we're talking about mental health so that I reminded you to take them. Also, I found out some of my bipolar meds cause more brain damage, so I have to do research on that. I'm so busy all the time though, but I do need to research that. Joshua says, I sometimes wonder if thinking about suicide or self-harm is a mortal sin. They need to be confessed. However, my baseline is mild depression. So I actually talk about the ideation in confession sometimes, and it's definitely not a mortal sin if you have a mental illness, because that, for something to be a mortal sin, you have to know it is a mortal sin, and you have to have complete free will and volition of your mind. So if you have a mental illness that causes ideation symptoms, you do not have that second qualifier of being in a free mind. That doesn't mean that it's not a serious, harmful thing. It just means it's not a mortal sin for you. So you should take that extremely seriously. The reason I talk about it in confession is because I feel like, because it is grave matter, it's something that is wounding me so strongly, and I like just talking to God about it in confession. It just like, yeah, talking to Jesus about it really helps me heal, even if it's not you know, a specific mortal sin, just saying it really, really helps. So yeah, I bring that stuff into confession. Anytime something is grave matter, I'll mention it, including like if I wasn't able to make it to mass because I messed up the schedule and accidentally missed it, stuff like that. I just always confess because it helps me. And I think it depends on the attitude that you have. Like, some people who have obsessive compulsive disorder experience a symptom called scrupulosity, where like they're constantly stressed out about a sin and they're like, I have to confess it. I have to confess it in this way. Like, I'm not worthy to receive the Eucharist, like all these things. And like, that is not my attitude at all. So if you do have OCD and experience the symptom scrupulosity with your OCD, like, don't take my advice on this, because I feel like they already are like over confessing and getting stressed out by things that are like not sins. So yeah. Ben says, go to the hospital if you're ever near Sue. Yes, absolutely. I would call 911. When I was in college, I had like a note on my phone with like my plan when I had ideation, and there are like support networks you can call. But yeah, I would check myself into a psych ward. Absolutely, I would. Ben says, I will add Lizzie to my rosary every day in a non-weird way. Praise. A lot of people pray for me in their rosaries, so I don't think it's weird at all. So many people like don't realize what it's like from my perspective, because someone will write me and they're like, sorry, this is so long, and it'll be like 5 sentences, and I'm like, I get like 5 paragraphs regularly. So people are like, oh, this is so long, or like, oh, it's so weird sharing this with you. And it's like, no, I get this stuff all the time. So Jason, have you read The Secret of the Rosary? It sounds very familiar. I may have, but I don't remember. Mech says luminosity is good too, more than elevate. Interesting. I'll write that down. I had no idea. Okay. In addition to elevate. I think elevate is so much fun though. What is my battery at? 10%. Okay. It has been 1 hour and 1 minute. So we have 19 minutes left. I'm so hungry. I'm gonna go make food after this. Okay. Jason Villages writes, are there any saints who claim to have seen Martin Luther in hell? No, that hasn't happened yet. I feel like if there was like Dante lived today, he would probably put Martin Luther in hell in his like literature book, but I don't know. Travis, I don't know what your obsession with demons is. Do you have a mental illness? That's so bizarre. Mecca, what do you like about luminosity more than elevate? Because I already pay for elevate. It's only $40 a year though, which is like really good. I think a lot of times when I'll tell someone about the app, I'll be like, you have to pay, and they're like, oh, and we'll never do that. And it's like, but you pay $15 a month for Netflix. So I don't understand why like $3.5 a month is too much, but okay. Travis says love from Portland, Oregon. I've been to Portland. It's so fun. My college friends and I did a road trip a few years ago up from Malibu to Seattle. So we went past Portland. Jason says, have you studied demonology? No, I'm not interested in it. I mean, I think it would be funny to make a video on demons just because people are constantly talking about how I have demons in me. So it'd be pretty funny inside joke with you guys, but I would rather make a video on angels. I mean, who knows? Maybe a demon video would get a lot of views. People are definitely more interested in something that like is terrifying to them. Although angels are terrifying too. Okay, Adjut followed me wrong. What is it? Demonology. The fact that that's even a word is so funny. Demonology. Ben says, have you listened to Father Ripperger or Sensus Fidelum channel? Yes. Not a ton, but I have watched both. Father Ripperger, every live stream. Father Ripperger, Father Ripperger. Okay. Joshua says, however, being absolutely convinced I was demon possessed after my attempt opened the door for a Catholic chaplain at the psychiatric hospital. Interesting. Ben says Lizzie's going to be doing live streams when she's 90. I mean, if YouTube exists, I thought like 5 or 6 years ago, I thought YouTube wouldn't exist, like wouldn't exist now, or like wouldn't be a popular platform. So I never really thought YouTube would like be a career or something I'd be doing right now, just because I didn't think it would last, because I feel like social media, like constantly new and upcoming programs are coming. Like a good example is like, what is it called? The video platform that everyone was on, that then people became YouTubers. What was it called? Not Twitch. Can someone comment? It was like a comedy one, and a lot of people, no, not MySpace. It was like short comedy videos that people would do. Google Plus? Vine, thank you, Vine. There's so many different ones. Yeah, so Vine was something that was really trendy and then ended. YouNow, yes, a lot of people would live stream on YouNow, not a thing anymore. Musically, a lot of people were on, then it got combined with TikTok. Facebook, obviously no one really uses anymore, but like older people. That's actually so offensive because I have the most followers of social media, like besides YouTube, on my Facebook page. So I don't know how old everyone is, but yeah, people really like my posts on there, but I never use my personal Facebook. I think I posted that I was engaged on there, and like that was it. And my Instagram stories go onto my Facebook fan page. So I use my Facebook fan page. I should use it more. But the algorithm is so great on there. The Instagram story algorithm is so great because I still get the same like views depending on if I never post. So I really like that a lot. Caitlin says Vine was the OG TikTok. Yeah, I was never into Vine, but you know, TikTok has gotten so big, so it's crazy how things come and go so fast. So yeah, it's weird that YouTube has stayed. So I might leave a live stream early, guys. I'm so hungry. I really want to eat. 1 hour and 6 minutes. So 14 minutes. I don't know if I can make it. Okay. Oh, I'll tell you guys about something. So my, one of my friends who's agnostic, he went through a really big health crisis, and he said that this meditation app by Sam Harris really helped him. It's called Waking Up. Let me make sure that's the name. I think that's the name of it. Anyways, so as most of you probably know, Sam Harris is this really famous atheist, and he's written books. He's similar to Richard Dawkins, where he has like, yeah, it's called Waking Up. It's an app. So it's similar to Richard Dawkins, where he has absolutely zero academic training on religion, and not even like on religion, but any topic of like the historicity of the time period of the Bible and the start of Christianity. So let's say he had never studied religion, but he had a degree in the ancient world, which helped him understand the Old Testament, or like the Greco-Roman Empire, or like philosophy in the early church. You know what I mean? Like studied something like the historical context of the beginning of Christianity, but literally nothing. And so he is trying to be this like intellectual expert on Christianity and why he's atheist and all these things. And it's like, why does anyone think you have ethos on these things? So yeah, Sam Harris is one of those people, And my friend says, yeah, even though my friend is agnostic, he has horrible takes on religion, don't respect that at all. But his meditation app, Waking Up, is really good. It helps me sort through things I'm struggling with. And because of the app, he doesn't feel pain anymore when he's going through something hard. He can, like, with meditation, disconnect from it and not cry about it. And I was like, wow. So yeah, let me know if you guys have heard of this Waking Up app, because I'm willing to do it, but I'm like very, very feeling like it's not a good thing because it's based on some Eastern religions and he's not Christian. So yeah, really sketched out by the app, but kind of wanting to do it. So I think I'm gonna ask on my Instagram too for people to message me if they have like a lot of thoughts on it. So Magali says, make food and come back. I mean, what would I do? Like just walk out for 30 minutes and then come back? It takes me a long time to cook because I make everything homemade. Besides bread, I used to make like homemade pizza dough and like homemade bread and all of these things, but now I'm like lazy and I just buy like Dave's bread or Trader Joe's bread and like whole wheat tortillas and all these things. But I used to make like my own pancakes and everything. I still do make my own waffles and pancakes, but when I was in depression, when I got out of depression, I lost a lot of like life skills. Like I was no longer able to sing. Like before I could read music, and like if I heard the first verse of a song, I could immediately sing the second verse with the melody and reading the music and everything. And now I cannot do that. Like I can't sing, I'm so bad. And also I forgot to look left and right before crossing the street, completely forgot to do it. And it wasn't until like a year and a half ago when I realized, like, wait, this is why I keep getting in these sketchy, almost car accident situations when I'm going on my run, because I'm not looking to cross the street because I forgot to do that. And one of them was cooking. Like I forgot cooking skills, like how to cut garlic and like how to measure things. Like I just forgot and I had to relearn them. So yeah, like baking is one of those things. Like I've tried to make like pancakes and bread and stuff, and it's just like something about when I was in depression, I like lost the skill. So I need to figure it out. But it's one of those things where like probably like 4 or 5 times I've attempted to make bread or pancakes and it's turned out horrible. And it's like once you put like 20 minutes to an hour into doing something and you fail at it, I'm like, okay, I'll just buy it rather than making it homemade. So I should learn to do it again, but I'm just like, no. Caitlin says, my lunch yesterday was literally 3 pieces of candy. Oh, yeah, that's so bad. I make a lot of food for dinner and then eat it the next day for lunch. And I have a ton of oatmeal for breakfast. Oatmeal! I've gone back to that. So, and then if I don't want to make oatmeal, I'll make like almond butter toast or avocado toast. So yeah, I feel like I eat very good food, super healthy, love where I'm at. I've started putting kale and spinach in smoothies. I didn't eat kale for a long time. I used to eat it like every day and then I stopped eating it. So putting in smoothies is great though. Caitlin says, I have literally no energy to make food anymore. They were small candies. Yeah, that's why you should just make like almond butter toast or like avocado toast. It's so easy. Or also the easiest thing is to get frozen vegetables and microwave them. You don't have to cut them. You don't have to monitor cooking them. Just put them in the microwave and then eat it. And frozen fruit is the same way. If you want to blend stuff, it's just so easy. Like banana, frozen fruit, you don't have to clean it or anything. Obsessed with salad. I feel like salads are so hard to make though. You have to cut up like a ton of ingredients. I don't like it. I like salads when I go out to eat. I recently discovered this restaurant called Sweet Green. Have you guys heard of it? When I was in Boston doing my wedding dress shopping, we went there and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so good. And they have it in a lot of places around the country. So their salads are amazing. Okay. Okay, 8 minutes left. I'm gonna go early, guys. I'm sorry. Any other great questions? Caitlin says, I had frozen carrots for lunch today. Yeah, just microwaving it is great. IJR, is popcorn considered vegan? Yes, if you like buy a thing of popcorn and pop it, it's vegan. I mean, check, it might have butter in it, but just regular popcorn is, but if you go to like the movies or something, it usually has butter in it. So you have to ask and double check. So, oh my goodness, guys, I was on a restaurant the other day and I had an Impossible Burger. And I was like, okay, I'm vegan, so make sure there's like no dairy on it, no cheese. And the waiter is like, oh, our bread has dairy in it. And I'm like, what? Like, I've never been, like, bread that you buy like at a restaurant, at a store, like rarely has egg in it. It just rarely does. Like, I always check labels and stuff does not have egg or dairy in it very often. Like, bread does not. And so I was like really shocked and I was like, can you tell? Like, I was being a really annoying vegan. I said it calmly though. I was like, can you tell the kitchen that when vegans ordered the veggie burger, we're not expecting the bread to have dairy in it? So there is this app, this vegan app called Happy Cow, and it has all the vegan options in the area, like stores that have restaurants that have one vegan option or are like fully vegan or fully vegetarian. It shows everything where you can get a vegan meal at. And I added to it. I was at the restaurant. I'm like, beware of the freaking egg in the bread. So yeah, you always have to check because I think a lot of people don't know that veganism is a thing. So they assume vegetarian, veggie burger, vegetarian. And so sometimes they'll have like cheese or like something in the bread that's not vegan. So you always have to ask, even if you think like, of course it won't. So, and also I've learned you have to tell people what veganism is. I was getting this meal I typically get at Taco Bell and I said I'm vegan and they like put a dairy sauce in it. And I was like, what? And so it's like I feel like most people places I go in California know what veganism is in a lot of big cities, but I was like in the South or something. And so I was like, okay, I have to say every single thing. So I learned my lesson because I like never go out to eat at fast food. So now after that happened a couple years ago, I never mess up anymore. Okay. Someone is saying, is veganism is demonic? Of course not. The reason for veganism is factory farms because animals are in like a prison cell their entire life, constantly suffering. And then they're like scalded alive. Like a lot of times they don't even kill the animal. Like they just like, it's still alive and it's like being cooked in like the oil or whatever for its skin to move. Like, so disgusting, like so disgusting the way they murder the animals. It's not, none of it is ethical. So yeah, veganism is just about not unnecessarily harming or killing an animal unless you absolutely need to. So for example, like back in the day when we were not an agrarian society and couldn't farm, we didn't have that skill as a species, people hunted to eat because there wasn't another option. But in 2021 in the US, it's super easy to be vegan, no excuses. I read, it was like a meme posted on Instagram and someone was like, 2021 vegan, and they're like, you know, complaining about they don't have enough like fake meats. And then they're like, vegan in 1990, beans and rice. Because it's totally, you can eat vegan without any of the vegan replacement foods. You can eat beans and rice, quinoa, lentils, bread, pasta, oats, fruits and vegetables, seeds, and nuts. Like there's so many options for eating vegan that are way cheaper than all the vegan replacement foods. So anyways, I love you guys so much. Oh, we have 3 more minutes. Okay, I will get through this. I'm so hungry. I might make fishless filet. Gardein has these vegan fish. They're so good. Lizzie films with a potato? What does that mean? My face looks like a potato? Caitlin says I will make vegan Thanksgiving food. Yes! I'm so excited. I'm gonna try a new vegan roast that I haven't had this year. And you can make mashed potatoes with vegan milk, vegan butter, and I've made green bean casserole off of like a website of Kalel, and she always deletes her videos because of her OCD, so people re-upload her videos. They have like entire channels to like keep her content. So that's an example of a mental illness, like majorly affecting your life. It like you delete videos for your job all the time. So anyways, you saute mushroom and white onion and cut up cauliflower. And then you cook it and you make the sauce and then you put like the green bean and like the crunchy French onion thing on it as well. So 2 minutes. Caitlin says roasted vegetables are so good. I feel like that's not bougie enough for Thanksgiving for me. I want like a casserole made, not just veggies plain. But that was just my house. Growing up, we did like so many casseroles. Chaya says, I love cauliflower. What I don't like about cauliflower is it takes like way longer to cook than broccoli does. And so since I don't use it enough, I feel like usually when I get like cauliflower, it comes with broccoli in it. At least the stores I go to. So I have to like time it. Like, okay, I'll cook the cauliflower for 3 minutes and then put the broccoli in. But sometimes I mess it up because I'm not like attuned to it. So super annoying. Okay, 1 minute left. Cauliflower is amazing. Jason says, Lizzie, what's a really great saint to study and why? Oh my goodness, 1 minute left. Chrysostom is really cool. He had a beautiful life. He set up the liturgy that's still used in Eastern Catholic churches today, the Orthodox Church, tons of writings. Augustine has a very dramatic life. Padre Pio is a recent saint who's really cool. Catherine of Siena, she is so cool. She was struggling a lot with like an eating disorder in her life, but she was like so powerful politically. Like she was like getting the Pope to do things and like talking to all the politicians of the day. And she was a nun as well. So her life, she had like visions, like so cool. So Catherine of Siena is probably a really good person with like a fascinating life to study. So Maglee, please make a new what I eat in a day. Oh, I'm gonna totally do that. Because I have my oatmeal that has like 35 grams of protein. I keep wanting to share it on my Instagram because I feel like people are like, where do vegans get protein? And it's like, I get so much protein. Okay, let's see. What I eat in a day. I can show my pasta. I'll do oatmeal and pasta. And I don't know what I'll do for lunch. I always eat leftovers for lunch, so. Yay! 1 hour and 20 minutes. We're done with the live stream. Okay, thanks guys for hanging out with me. Sorry I complained at the end. I'm sure all of you can relate, even if you love your workplace. Sometimes you just want it to end and want to go home. So I love you guys so much. Like I said, my computer, I have a new computer. I can edit, I can film. I'm gonna film videos tomorrow. My wedding dress shopping will probably be the first one that will go up. I'm so excited to show you the dress I chose, and my friends are in the video. So I actually didn't film vlogs with them in the video just because all my friends have like professional jobs now. So they're fine with them like being in the background a little bit, but not like on camera as much. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you next week in a full edited video. Woohoo! Bye. Have a good night.